Hello, viewers. Hello, viewers of RBC TV. We are live now with guests, Madin Wadamanya, Yalama Kimalwaj. Live now, and we are going to talk to run commentary on current political issues first, and then next we will go into the topic that was advertised, second part, which is about dowries in our society. In relation to the news, the current news topics, we want to make comments on the passing of the former Prime Minister Sadiq Al-Mahdi. What is the significance of that for Sudan and for Sudan and South Sudan? In my view, the passing of Sadiq Al-Mahdi is very significant. It marks the end of the old Sudan era in the political arena of Sudan, because Sadiq Al-Mahdi and what is called Azab Taifiyah were the spearheads, the pillars of all Sudan. The Sudan that wanted to base the country on Islam and Arabism. I believe Sadiq Al-Mahdi is the last of these guys, because the rest of Sudan now is embracing New Sudan, including within Ummah Party. Long time ago, figures of Ummah Party like Mubarak al-Fadl al-Mahdi, his cousin, he used to talk the language of New Sudan as early as the 90s and late 90s. So, but Sadiq Al-Mahdi, even though he sometimes politically talked about New Sudan, he was not genuine. He was stuck with the old Sudan, which put them at advantage against the rest of the Sudanese people. So that is what I think about the passing of Sadiq Al-Mahdi. I will pass on to Madin Wada to comment. Thank you.
Thank you, David Mabur-Chadar, and also my younger brother, Makim Raj, and the Rumbek TV viewers for this opportunity, in which that we are going to talk about some political issues as well, about our main topic, which is about dowries. But I'll make a very quick remark about the passing of former Prime Minister of Sudan, Al-Imam Sadiq Al-Mahdi. Al-Imam Sadiq Al-Mahdi is a very controversial figure, and he was one of the leading Sudanese politicians. With his failures and success, it's closed the chapter of a long 85 years of his life, in which that more than 70% of his life as a politician. He was the youngest politician to go into parliament when he was 28 years old. And because of his background, in which that he came from one of these sectarian parties, and the influence of Ansar in politics of Sudan, the constitution of Sudan was changed to pave the way for Sadiq al-Mahdi to come as the prime minister, and that was done. Sadiq al-Mahdi was the most luckiest politician in Sudan in general. He came to power twice, but he failed miserably to achieve anything. Some may contribute to his own setback or drawback. Some may contribute to his personality, or the political situation within the country, the setup, political setup within the country. I personally, I encountered Sadiq Al-Mahdi. I met him 3 times in my life, and we had a very good lot of discussion on more political issues. As intellectuals, he's an intellectual. There is no any doubt about that. As a religion leader, he's a religion leader also. There's no doubt about that. One of the things is that when Sadiq al-Mahdi ruled Sudan twice and he fell, there are some issues which maybe most of South Sudanese may not understand. And when you talk with someone face to face, you may ask him direct question. I would like to clarify very few things about Sadiq al-Mahdi. Although I differ with him politically, but in some cases you need to tell the truth for a generation to know exactly what is going on. There is a notion in mind of most of South Sudanese that Sadiq al-Mahdi is the one who assassinated William Deng. That's not true at all.
Mm,
It's not
mm,
true. Although William Deng was killed by through a conspiracy within Umar party led by Al-Mahyoub, who was the prime
yeah,
minister at that time, because Sadiq al-Mahdi sided with the other group, which is including the marginalized forces in Sudan during
yeah,
election, and that forces were led by William Deng and was assassinated. Sadiq al-Mahdi was a personal friend of late William Deng. That's one thing also I would like to clarify. I asked Sadiq al-Mahdi particularly about his role in Bor town when all of the ships were killed when he visited Bor. Sadiq al-Mahdi also, he reiterated and he confirmed that he doesn't have any role. He went there to Bor and he visited some towns in South Sudan for political purposes because there was competition with the Umar party. And he still also blamed al-Mahjoub because he was in power and Mahjoub knows exactly what happened in those cities. The drawback and the setback of Sadiq al-Mahdi mostly during his second term when he became a prime minister of Sudan in 1986, I think so, yeah,
yeah.
or 87, yeah, that time. Sadiq al-Mahdi had committed one of the
86.
things which happened, 86, yeah,
Mm, yeah,
the at the end massacre. At the end massacre, even if Sadiq al-Mahdi did not give an instruction, but he was the prime minister of the country, he is held
yeah,
responsible. And we talk about this with him. He blamed other forces which were behind that, but that's not true. That is a
yeah,
responsibility. And Sadiq al-Mahdi also, he is the one who created the militia which are called Marhalin,
yeah,
that to defend, to be a buffer between the north and south, and to prevent SPLA forces not to penetrate in Western Sudan and Nuba Mountain, and that we know anything, we know very well what Al Marahilin have done to our people, the destruction, the trail of destruction they have, and the atrocities they committed in northern Bahr Ghazal and Abia area and other part of South Sudan. And that is Sadiq al-Mahdi did. He's the one who did that. We know also when he tried to silence those of Dr. Oshari and Silman Boldo when they issued the book about
yeah,
slavery and massacre of the end. He arrested them. We know also his role against any peace initiatives when Al-Merghani and Kokedam, and when the
yeah,
peace initiative of Al-Merghani also, Sadi al-Mahdi is the one who aborted that one, and he's the one really through Sadi, through his cousin, which you mentioned, Mubarak Father al-Mahdi, when he was a
yeah,
minister of interior, he arrested the delegation who came from Ethiopia from the airport immediately, although it was their right politically to head a negotiation with SPLM, SPLA, but Sadiq al-Mahdi was behind that. And that really led to a coup in Sudan. And there are evidence with his brother-in-law, Hassan Turabi,
yeah,
that Sadiq al-Mahdi
yeah,
was part of that conspiracy for Turabi and other group to take over. And ideologically, Sadiq al-Mahdi is not far away from Islamists because his ideology is based on Islam. And he's a sector of the
yeah.
biggest, one of the biggest, he's the head of the sector, one of the biggest sector, which is
Sector.
Ansar, the sector. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And we know Sadiq al-Mahdi also is the one who led the conspiracy with Dr. Hassan Turabi in 1967 in Parliament, where the Communist Party was expelled from the Parliament, and that was a violation of Constitution of Sudan, because
yeah,
according to parliamentarians procedures, you cannot be subject to any punishment due to your own opinion in parliament. And that was done. And in reality, that led to Jafar Numeri and other liberal forces and leftists to stage a coup in Sudan and take over in 25th of May 1969. The government and Sadiq al-Mahdi and Mahjoub and the rest, some were jailed, and
Yeah.
Mahjoub lost his life in jail. That is really is very quick background of al-Mahdi, and as you mentioned, David, that's the chapter
Yeah.
of all Sudan is being closed, and Sadiq al-Mahdi departure will create a new political dispensation within the country in Sudan, and also will contribute in a relation between North and South, which was based on all Sudan theories and the way the North used to look into us. And I
Yeah.
have read one of the condolences which has been passed by some of his uncles. We are really South Sudanese from Awil area.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The people of Magbula.
Magbula, yeah. Magbula, she is
Yeah.
the mother of Abdurrahman, and there's a condolence. And now there is
Yeah.
a bika in Juba in house of Ibrahim Albino Akol, who is one of his
Yeah.
cousin. Yeah, but it's
Hello
very
again.
interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting. I will stop here because we don't want our show to be occupied by Sadiq and Mahdi departure. And I'll give a chance to my younger brother. Yeah, and because
Yeah.
Sadiq and Mahdi does need a real program by itself to talk about him and political.
Yeah.
See, yeah,
Actually.
yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
very much for that. Yeah.
You are right, Mading. Thank you for your input. Um, I was thinking even of, you know, making an exclusive show, especially for the passing of Sadiq Al Mahdi, because it's a very big topic, and we can say a lot about it. So now I will pass on to my team.
Okay. Anyway, a lot have been said by Mading. Thank you, David Noburjadar, for giving me this opportunity. Mading, who is actually knowledgeable a lot in Sudanese politics, has explored a lot. But I will touch a little bit on 1987 massacre. They call it Den massacre, where majority of Dinga will were killed by the militias allied to the government of Sadiq al-Mahdi at
Yeah,
that time. You know what
yeah,
happened? Uh, as we all know, African politics is always a politics driven by ethnicity. As you know,
yeah,
sometimes the government tries to exploit the ethnic identities of different groups within the country. We are a diverse country as Sudanese people, and it is not new in Sudan. It has been in existence since 1956 or before 1956, because Sudan is a
yeah,
composition of different nationalities. Let me say so. There are Black Africans, the Arabs, the immigrant from different part of the world, and as you know, politicians sometimes, if they want to rise to power or they want to cling to power, they try to create a situations that cause a confusions, and they try to exploit the different ethnicity in the country. Like what happened recently in 2013,
yeah,
when the government uh, under President Salva Kiir, when Young Machar and Salva Kiir, when they were at odds politically over the SPLM, what happened? Vulnerable
yeah,
people, they end up in crisis, and most of them were killed. The same thing in
yeah,
Darfur. The same thing in Darfur when Umar Bashir was fighting rebel. The Janjaweed ended
yeah,
up killing innocent people because they said these are Arabs, these are black people. And that's what happened exactly in 1987, especially in Wow. In
yeah,
Wow, the Petit tribe, the Dinka tribe, they were pitted against each other. And many Dinka, they died, and many Petit died. And it
yeah,
was the same leadership under Sadiq al-Mahdi. Hmm? Sadiq
yeah,
al-Mahdi actually he has been a controversial politician, but we should not forget the fact that he is very significant in the Sudanese politics because he represents a very large constituency. And given his background, he's a son of prominent politician, or let's say a freedom fighter, because he, a grandson. Let me say that. Let me say that
yeah,
he's a grandson, and I believe his grandfather was a leading figure in the Sudan, and he was the one who fought the British and tried to establish Islamic State. I think you are familiar with that history because of your age, because of your education. You know that history very well. I don't need to touch more about that. Let's come to 1986. Sadiq
Yeah.
al-Mahdi in 1986, when his government
Yeah.
was struggling economically and because of the war in the south, he was in a weak position.
Yeah.
But I believe he could be the last Sudanese leader who was almost to negotiate in good faith with the SPLM because of the war in the south and because of the economic situation the country was in.
Yeah.
But given the fact that the coalition he had in the government at that time, because he tried to forge a coalition to form the government with those of National Islamic Front as well as those of DUP, Democratic Unionist Party, but
Yeah.
he failed that to forge that alliance because those parties were not interested with his lenient acceptance to negotiate with John Garang, the SPLM leadership. Because if he was given a chance to negotiate with us at that time, I think the war would not have been prolonged in the south like that. But because of Islamic forces in the parliament, those of National
Yeah.
Islamic Front, he was not given a chance to negotiate with us. And I believe Hassan al-Trabi was behind that conspiracy that brought his government down. Because the negotiations, John Garang called it, the peace was around the corner at that time.
Yeah.
Because the principle they have agreed, like the push for a secular state, the national call for a conference to negotiate the future of Sudan, to separate religion from state, they were accepted by Sadiq al-Mahdi delegation. And I believe most of you knew that time, 9 hour negotiations were centered on these issues. And John Garang used to say these are the complicated issues that prolong the
Yeah.
war in the south. But as Sadiq al-Mahdi was ready to negotiate with Dr. Garang. So his loss is actually it has both ways. It has to be weighed in both ways because he has failures, he has his achievement. Even 1995 declarations of NDA, he was a significant player, and I believe he's being a part of the union actually send a new signal to the Sudanese government under Umar al-Bashir at that time, because having Sadiq al-Mahdi with the large constituencies on the National Democratic Alliance platform as well as DUP was actually a panic in Khartoum, and I believe it was also a driving force in renegotiation of the peace process, which has ended up in 2005. These are the few remarks that I could say about that. His
Yeah.
death is actually a significant loss to the Sudanese people because he represents elite constituencies, but his death also can be, I can say,
Hello, Marco.
it would set a new dispensation politically in the country. So these are the
Yeah.
brief comments that I can make about Sadiq al-Mahdi death, and I can give a chance to other people.
Okay. Thank you, Mark Kimaloy. We have a new person here, Marco Bol. Yeah. I want to brief you, Marco. We were talking. Maybe you were watching on Facebook. Were you watching on Facebook?
No, I logged on.
Yeah.
But the comment there, you talking about something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the way we have arranged the show is we make comment on current news first,
Okay.
and then we go to the topic.
All right.
So we are commenting on the death of former Prime Minister of Sudan, Sadiq al-Mahdi,
Yeah.
and the political significance of that in Sudan, in the two Sudans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that is what we were talking about, and we were saying Sadiq al-Mahdi is a representative of all Sudan, which South Sudan and the rest of the Sudan were fighting against. So he's
Yeah.
the last guard of this of that kind of political orientation.
Okay.
Yeah, so I will just make one more comment on this topic of Sadiq Al Mahdi, and then I will pass on to you, Mako, to say something if you want to say something about it.
Okay.
I have personal knowledge of Sadiq Al Mahdi because I was a clerk in the Council of Ministers in Khartoum from 1985 after I finished school, and it was the government was the transitional government, military government of Suarez Dab. And then in 1986, election was done, and Sari Almadi became prime minister. So as clerks, we used to prepare something called a digest for the prime minister, digest of news. So magazine, we read magazine newspapers and then make them short and present them to the prime minister. And then after I came to Egypt study in 1997, January 1997, Sadiq Al-Mahdi came after the coup, 1997. After the coup of 89, he ran from Sudan through Ethiopia and he came to Egypt. And he became part of the opposition called National Democratic Alliance, NDA, which included SPLA, SPLM, and all the opposition. So he came and invited the SPLM cadres, who were some of the SPLM, SPLA cadres, including Uncle Gordon Motad, who was visiting in Egypt, and other politicians like Abdul Nagao and others, and the intellectual, the students. So we met Sadiq Al-Mahdi in what is called Dar Hizb al-Ummah in Cairo that time. And he was talking about New Sudan. So I asked him a question. I said, now we have become part of New Sudan. You've got to go to the Arab nations and tell them, because Sadiq Al-Mahdi was one of the people who used to say about he used to say about the SPLA, SPLM. He used to say this is a movement. This is a movement that is sponsored by Israel, sponsored by the foreign powers. You know, treason. It was they were called John Garang like a traitor of their nation, according to their understanding of the nation. So that's why I asked him. I said, now you believe in New Sudan. You go around the Arab nations and tell them SPLM is not a bad movement. It is a nationalist movement that is struggling for equality in Sudan. And what he did that time, he said, nobody, you didn't read my book. And then he mentioned some of his books. He's a writer. He writes a lot of books. So he said, you didn't read my book, and he said the title. I forgot the title. And what happened? His people in the office went also and grabbed copies of that book and distributed in the meeting. So Sadiq Al-Mahdi was on his way to change. People hoped he would change from that time, but he proved that he didn't change. He didn't change. But now he's gone. I don't think anyone after him will continue the agenda of all Sudan, because a lot of things have happened in Sudan, in northern Sudan now. So northern Sudan now has had established diplomatic relations with Israel, which they use as one of their main political things. They used to say that the Arab world, including Sudan, they call Arab country, is fighting Israel. But now the thinking of the new government, the new Sudan, is that you base your relationships with countries based on your national interests, and that is what is happening in Sudan now. So I will stop here, and I will pass on to Amako to say something about this topic before we go on to the next topic.
Thank you so much. I don't know much about politics or about Sadiq Al-Mahdi, but I hear about him in history and in songs. So I know a little bit about him and how he was one of the people that actually caused massacre to the Dinka people and to the South Sudanese people. So I know he's a person that has caused a lot of pain to our community, and he was a predecessor before Bashir came. So I don't know much about him, but it's someone that is well known, and I heard about how he died in Dubai. I don't know if my news are correct, but
yes.
yeah, that's all I know about him. And I wouldn't comment much.
Okay.
Yeah, death is death anyway. Like, we can't really celebrate his death, because as a human being, he should have still lived. And because he still has, I'm sure he's got families and people that love him. But yeah, I'm sure he's old now, because when I used to hear about him, it was a long time ago. Yeah, so he's lived well. I think that's all I can say. And maybe I can introduce myself. And I might, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to leave because my baby just woke up. So I wouldn't continue with the discussion. So I apologize for that. So for those who may watch this video, my name is Makon Boldud. I'm a teacher by profession, and I'm from Rumbek, and I'm married to Tweet Mayadit. So it's formalities. I don't know if you've done that already. So I just wanted to introduce myself, and I think that's all I can say. And yeah, back to you.
Okay, thank you, Mako. Yeah, we are people who we know each other from long time. All people who are sitting here, so we just introduce our names. My name is this. My name is here. So that's why we haven't introduced ourselves as much as you did, and it's good that you introduce yourself fully. Sadiq Al-Mahdi is very old that kind of politicians. He has been there. He's been there for a long time.
Yeah.
Since we were babies, we are now we are big people, but he was there in politics in Sudan politics since we were babies. You know. So anyway, if no, I think Agar has left. Yeah. What we will do, maybe we'll go to, we will leave the visit of the Egyptian president to South Sudan last, because Amako is here, and she's here just to discuss this topic of dowries. So we will go to the topic of dowries, and then we will discuss the visit of the Egyptian president next. Yeah. So on this topic of
Can I just leave for 1 minute? I'll be back. Sorry, I'm gonna go for a minute.
Okay. Martin, are you there?
Yeah. I'm here. But one thing which I was thinking is to give a chance first to those, because this topic was started last week, and I think it should have been better for me to listen a bit, because I don't want to bring people back from the beginning. Maybe there are a lot of things being exhausted, and I will contribute later. But you give a chance to our sister Moko, and then the rest, and then I will come and discuss the topic, because it's already started last week, and I don't want to start from very beginning. It will look awkward sometimes for some people. I will be a bit lost, but it's better for them to start the topic.
No,
and then
actually,
I will catch up.
I will introduce the topic a bit, and and catch up on what was said last week, and then we go from there.
Okay.
Okay,
that would be great. That would be great.
I was expecting more people to come this time, because the reason we repeat the discussion this time was because people said this is a very important and very big topic. We cannot exhaust it in one session. So that's why we came back to discuss it now. Actually, last week we said that the dowries, the practice of dowries, is part of our culture, and it is not a bad culture. The issue with it now, that was issues that were raised with it, is that now the dowries in some sections of Mwanjang are very, very high. People mention things like people pay cows, and they can add even cars, motorbikes, and stuff like that. We were saying also it's not bad for someone who is super rich to make a big wedding and you know and spend a lot of wealth in that, but it's not good for the average person, the normal person. If the dowries are that high, um, that is not good for the society. It will not lead to love marriages. It will always be about who has what. So that was briefly, that was some of the ideas that were said in the last discussion. So, like, but Amako is not here now. So I think Madin, you can take on from there.
Okay, thank you, David Mabur. In fact, the issue of dowry is, as you put it rightly, is something related to our culture, and it's not our society
Yeah,
only or Dinka communities that practice dowries. It's practiced in other part of the world and as a part of their culture also. And it goes back. This practice goes back to centuries, if not thousands of years. And there are so many reasons why dowry is being offered
yeah,
as one of the gifts when you take a, a bride from their own family. It's different from society to society. We as Dinkas, Nagar in particular, we pay the dowry to the girl family.
yeah,
In other societies in the world, it's opposite. The girls paid to the male parents or to the male, and there are reasons
like the Indian society, right?
like the Indians. Yeah, the Indians they pay that because the reason the man is the one who's gonna be responsible, spend his money to take care of his wife. The man is the one who protect her physically if there's anything
Yeah,
happens. The
yeah,
man is the one who really take most of the risk to protect the girl. Therefore,
yeah,
the man deserves to be paid, not the girl family to be paid. That's the concept, which is totally different and contrary to our way we look into it. They, there are aspects now which are really changing and related to dowry.
yeah,
As you put it, it's a culture and a social things practice we do in our societies. But the danger of dowry now is the commercialization of dowry.
yeah,
Commercialization, the commercialization of dowry is a new phenomena in the way Dinka practice their dowry. I remember during those days of our parents and our grandparents, there was a limited way of giving dowry.
yeah,
Even if you say you want to pay 100 cows, you will be allowed to pay 90 You don't pay more than that. It's give cash to the girl.
Yeah.
Things like that, they were there in our culture. And in reality, it doesn't mean there are criteria for you to be offered that girl to be your wife. One of the criteria is your personality, your capabilities of taking care of your family. Do you have cows? Do you have farming? Are you a responsible person? Those criteria now are not there anymore. It's
Yeah.
become more commercialized than socialized or part of our culture. Some even, I'm so sad or sorry to say that some parents they just give their girl to anybody who offer them whatever he can offer, but they don't care what's going to happen to this girl. If this
The
man is
person who offers more.
responsible, exactly, somebody who offer more, regardless of other aspect, other capabilities of this man, whether he's going to take care of his family or not. And we have seen so many breakdown within the families, so many marriages which are really gone in disarray within a year or 2 or 3 years. And it's created social issues within our society. And these need to be addressed. I will bring a very brief story about something happens. And when I was living in Gulf countries, when I was living in Qatar,
Yeah.
in the banks, there were so many debts. The youth, they go to the banks and take, loan to go and pay for dowries, which are $300,000, $200,000, $500,000 sometimes. And
Wow.
that create a big issue within the society. And one time, the Amir of Qatar, Sheikh Hamid bin Zayed, that time, and Karan Amir, which is Sheikh Tamim. Sheikh Tamim used to play soccer with some of his friends, and they
Yeah.
came one day into the palace after the practice. And the sheikh was a very intelligent man. His father, Hamid, he called them, say, "Oh, guys, come with me, and let us have breakfast here." He told them, "What are your problems?" They say, "Our problem is we are already bogged down by debts within the banks due to the marriages are very expensive, are very costly." And some of these boys, they left, they don't get married anymore in Qatar. They go and get wives from India, which is very cheap.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
$5,000, he will get a medical doctor, women, bring her work and provide you with whatever you want. And he
Yeah.
told them, okay, what is your problem? Say the
It's
dowries
like
are too
the
high.
it's like the Kawajat with some Asian ladies. They go to
Exactly.
Philippines, yeah,
Exactly.
and marry. Yeah.
You know what he did? He ordered Diwan Lamiri, which is the palace,
Yeah.
to write the letter to all the banks with the youth who have taken loans based on dowries and came to 1 point something billion dollar. And Dewan Amir paid off all these debts
Hmm.
and freed the youth from it. And he called for
Wow.
national dialogue. The national dialogue was attended by all sectors of the society. They
Yeah.
delivered for 3 days. They came out with a law. There is no any dowry will be more than 45,000 real, regardless
Wow.
being rich or being poor. This to maintain the society intact and to encourage those boys to get married within the country, not to go and get married from India and other places, and give them a chance also to establish themselves. They want to have the houses, they want to have cars, they want to have a good living, and all these things. Opposite now, economically, culture is dynamic, it's not static. And it's a matter of time, may take some years in our society where things may start, to phase out slowly, slowly. But
Yeah.
it's affecting our societies, it's affecting ours badly. The issue of dowry need to be addressed, although it's a very crucial thing and a very difficult things to be addressed. Is based on individuals. And if I decide as Madin order to give away my daughter with 5 cows, does not mean
Yeah.
that everyone is ready to give away his daughter with 5 cows. Some people
No.
are very ambitious. They want to
Yeah.
make a lot of money out of that, and it is their right. But we
Yeah.
have moral responsibility as society to make sure the
Ambitious and
new
greedy.
generation, yeah,
Let me call them also
yeah,
greedy.
exactly. The young. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
Is
Huh?
that in your background?
It's my son who's crying. Sorry. Yeah, it's
Uh,
okay.
yeah,
We have moral responsibility as elders within the society and the community. We want to see our children also get married and live a very comfortable life. We don't want to leave this society in disarray due to the practice which we have been practiced. I myself, I got married, I pay dowry, which is not
yeah,
bad. But
yeah,
the trend and the system now, the way the dowry is going, as you have mentioned before, people are paying a lot of cows, a lot of money, a lot of things. But in reality, economically, we are not going to sustain this. It will affect us economically because the
yeah,
entire world is moving towards a different direction economically. You need to have people, you need to have stability, you need to have money to sustain a family, which is not going to be something easy. I think
yeah,
I will stop here and give a chance to other people to talk about this topic of dowry, but it's very vast and very crucial and very important in our society. But the most important thing is understanding. I don't want people to take this issue of dowry as a sensitive things. People should have a dialogue. People should be open about it because what we
yeah.
are trying to do, we want to solve the existing problem, which is really visible, and we don't want to pretend that there is no any problem within our society related to this issue of dowry. I will stop here. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Mading, for your input. Actually, I will make a. Um, I just looking at the time. We've been on now for 41 minutes, uh, and because we don't have too many people now, because I think Amako is a bit busy with the children. That's why she goes and comes, and also Agar has gone, maybe for something else. So what we'll do, um, we will discuss this issue until 1 hour is complete. Like we have like 18 minutes from now, and then our show will be 1 hour, and we will close it. If no people, if no people come here, I see my on duty is struggling with logging
Okay.
on. He couldn't log on. He was trying to log on, but he couldn't. Uh, yeah. So anyway, you remember, Mehdi, uh, this issue of dowries in our community is something that is there. It has always been a problem. You remember in Khartoum when we were in Ramio, uh, when we organized those conferences of the community to discuss because that time people used to say if the marriage is discussed, it is not finalized. You don't get a touch until cars have been released in Rumbek,
Yeah.
and the marriage is in Khartoum. And it was during wartime, and people saw this very impractical. So it was that's what some of the topics that were discussed in our conferences, in our Ramio conferences in Giref, and I think uh, people came to a conclusion that we have to make changes. That we don't wait for the cars to be released in Rumbek until they will complete the marriage. That was one thing. Another thing, people talk about reducing the amount of dowry, and those resolutions that time they worked a lot. They help a lot of people. Some of us married, got married after, you know, after those resolutions and after those discussions, you know, and it became easier. It became a lot easier. There was something called Tegliat, that was uh, part of the dowry will be paid here in cash, and then the rest will wait for when when peace is coming in South Sudan. So that helped a lot. And now with marriage here, now the children have a problem getting married here because of high dowries. A lot of young people are not able to marry now. So it is a problem. Our communities should look into it, and make changes. So that's all I can add to this topic. And
Yeah,
while we are waiting for
I will have
Moko to
also
come back,
a few contribution also on this. If
yeah,
Amako
can you
comes before she comes here.
yeah, let's just say something about the visit of President of Egypt to South Sudan. Let's say something
No,
about it.
what was in my mind? Shall we wait for Amako, because you touched a very important thing about the children in diaspora here. They're not getting married
Yeah.
due to this dowry issue. I
Oh,
will
okay.
highlight.
Okay. Yeah, you can say something about that.
Yeah. I will highlight very important thing. This is very important things you have mentioned.
Yeah.
Now we have our society, due to the war, we are scattered all over the world. We have now the people of Rumbego are Garo diaspora, and the Garo
Yeah.
are back home.
And also, I think, Mading, this topic we can discuss it in Tongwanyang that.
Okay, why not? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can
look
be
at look
able
now.
to.
It's one young.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kula Uganda quite. Yeah, Uganda quite career.
Yeah.
Kagar. Miti ka dia da yete no miti ben na yete en kagar. Kwana
Yeah.
ni gana gatabai.
Yeah.
Mita baya tie. Kumita yete na tie gana quite jalte mi la tie ba ko che krai. Kono quite mi de tie ga yete tani ya bi ni te tan bi ka tie ko che krai ya ka pa ban ka ka.
Yeah.
Kutung entatin la kien ki chal tie kien tie kela mial. Non ki di ra yere de yogu. No miet kwa.
Yeah.
En lui bangi.
Yeah.
O mitria e ben ai biktie ga ben loan benich
Yeah.
loan e kiloma aya wogi o shamba ja jamin ka tapi run ka doro wala run ka dich
Yeah.
iri ala ko me na kire na law blacklist a chat na default because I the loan du kriya wala in ba kire nyai ben ken kuma chako bi ya ben ya la kimi parliament bi potor a kira na be dai la ben wala ko bi ka ja la ben bi le den Gora lo men be binyir bi dora re ke kitiak san no rio geridi no mit kena goro ko bi buglia gi pin ke chon man rane bradiet ki cham no nya jeto nyan dun teten o wen dun teten a yer ten cham tine diridi wo na ku tatwen ke ko ta ba ka chem yida le rot an ki ja ko ta ba ke chem lakin ka ta ba chem bi ke nyir gam ko ki ke ku yut no ko ta yer ten aki cham yeah ki cham ai jo go bangare te de ko wan to karo ka gele la ka bi ye ko ta yer lakin ni ke te ai gam ki nyir ko ga ma a che ke pin ka chi kam ba e ja ban pin ni ki ja yo
Ben gen undu ne kwel.
na kwel te bo ko ta yer te no bia no mu miet kwa no bia mustaqbal miet kwa nyer kwa ku wat kwa a yer te ti kire ti te go ni ma pat ku bu nyai tak bu mi ka bu ka tembe bi rotia ku bi rodiet ku bi ga ko ka bi chwerwe ko ga bi lo non ko yir ko ga bi la tie gan ko bene yutin poli fini haya man rani brad coach kunaki anon ai religion tari ga brad coach ka la gan ko taban ko bi ko ga jamu dan ko yo ga man yi tie ku tie ga mo yi tie a ke tinge nyine lazim bu ga daye o non responsibility kind responsibility da kuminin mabura kal kuminen medi wano mit kumitka yin wun met ken yar ba mando batin ki tiya ke nyandu wala windu batin ki tiya kuna ka ka ki ke rud loy ki yini ne ke de ka podier ko pat ko ki nyande kuna la med le wo bila la ror to that non ko yer wala to that ko ga jam mu ki man mem but wa ke da mu ga ke mem ki loy a ki lu bi opini a ki tiya because soon I can little bugro da die bugro tia kuna ko guru tiak ko ngo bi met ko ngo bi loy kana gor bi wo discuss it za do ko ta ye wa gor ko ta ba ye bi wo ko ne tekin e kun libi le wa ka kene buga tie kadi kuna no man lo ja makala tie ko bi ating bi ton ko yini e na lo tie ba ga kile le ka man bo ye ka non kan le ka tie e nan ka tie gan lakini ke yini be yi man dun ti tiangen bi ti tiak be ten be ni pir kadi ka man because man brad ben yo enong commitment which ka lo ka ki diun ka bi yare pier day abi pier bana pol be ria kam dan ka nya ne ki bena ko tag de le bo keg bet ni we e be ba ria kuna la ba le ria ka kini ke yum ko ya be du ken do bi ka do ken tene ne kiti ni ba mat in David mabur ene kan ne kare le ki di dare no wo ko l tiek ila wale dowry society community day.
Yeah. Thank you, Mading, yeah, for your ideas. I'm going to Ben. Kayen, I think wablo kini topic then ya. You ga
Okay.
jadi yeah, the topic then visit.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So visit CC Tawan. I think keeping official reason, official reason in CC Len South Sudan. Yeah, keeping officially. What is the reason for the visit? But I can guess it. I can guess it. I can guess it that it's because of the conflict between Egypt and Ethiopia. The conflict of Said Nahda. You know, that has a relationship with this visit, and also is related to the current escalation in violence in Ethiopia between the government and Tigray rebels. So that is what I can say about this. These are the reasons of this visit. So I will I'll give the floor back to you, Madin, to say what do you think about this?
Yeah, it's true. Could red Ben?
Let me brief Amoko. Amoko, we were waiting for you. We were talking about the dowries.
Yes.
For you to say something about the dowries, and then we finished talking about the dowries. So
Yeah.
that's why we went to this political topic, just
Yeah.
to wait for you talking about
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
I don't know, but
I truly apologize for keeping you waiting.
we will give you uh, we'll give you the chance to talk about the dowries, and then after that we'll talk about that political thing, and then we'll let you go because
Okay.
we are our time is almost up now. We have 7 minutes to go.
Okay. All right, I'll be very brief. So again, can I apologize to you and everyone watching? I truly apologize for leaving in and out. It's just I have a little baby and she was sleeping and she woke up, so I had to go look after her. So thank you so much for waiting.
And when we're talking about this dowries topic, because it can be in Mwanjang.
All right.
Yeah. Political issues we discuss them in English, so for everyone. But this social topic we talk in Tongwanja. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So when we jam Tongwanja then.
And you can mix too, because language that's a pure man.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So and bijalo jame chan bugwato we kawacha chagati rede. So kind of dowry community day, it's dowry tenia pianga there, and it's Kian Kagame is to appreciate the parents for looking after the daughter. It's like a token of appreciation. That's my understanding anyway. And in the olden days, it used to be the pricing was okay for Agar. I'm sure the pricing was still high, but for other communities it was all right. And I think on kadang one allel was it? I don't know if this is correct, that it was set to be 30, but that didn't come
No,
to
one allele is when there is a mistake. When the killing a
yes.
girl, killing a guy, 36 and a therapy without any discussion.
And that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that has changed. Kujala, like the way we understand a lot of young girls, the way they look at dowry these days is that it's like women as commodity that we're being sold.
Yeah.
And some people think of it that way, and it depends with the relationship within. There's a relationship where you marry a girl in Lebanyatiak, and then the way you treat her, you think about the cows that he gave.
Yeah.
That brings a problem. But kadang a culture in dowry is a culture, but the way to leoktin kaya man, it's actually there's disadvantage for the girl and for the man, because you can marry a girl, and in the olden days in Liberia, Queen Liberia, like there's no worry about divorce unless there's a big thing, unless there's a big problem. Then your cows abula, and then you have the relationship for a long time. But these days things change. The environment we live in, the world we live in is different. So you pay dowry, but then later it's a loss, you know. So and you pay a lot as well. Really hard, working hard. You borrow money from the bank, like Uncle said before, and it's a debt. You pay all of it. You pay like 300 cows or more, and then you start a house with nothing. You have nothing to pay bills for. You have nothing to pay a house for. So I feel there needs to be change, and can be peer in back home now we're becoming modernized. So the like South Sudan is becoming urbanized. So a lot of people are going into the cities, and the cities you're going to be paying bills, and you're gonna need. There's a lot of things that need money. Even living in a house, you need money. So I think the dowry system, if it were to change, it would be great, not just for the family, the son and daughter's family, but for the those that are coming together. Quite you know, can be people. But what I think as well as a Dinka, it's gonna take a while for it to change.
Yeah.
And it's gonna need a lot of work, a lot of people to work, a lot of understanding, because dowry system, marriage dana South Sudanese it's a whole clan. So
Whole
clan
family.
whole family. So family band together. So there's a lot of people involved when you talk about dowry. So I think that's all I can say. It's a good thing, but it's a system that needs to change as well, because the world needs to change with the system, with the world that we live in. Culture, I always say, culture is the people. Our culture. Is different. Is different. The generation that is going to come is different. So the culture it needs to change to fit the people. So that's all I can say. And
Thank you. Thank you, Mako. Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, my personal view about dowries, man. We need to make a big change. Sometimes I think we should, the only thing we should require, can of fruit buga go or quite a root book, Abuka consider all two families, long yak, long wood, Buka TK milk, Kwame we pandan jog, I can non duty, I can be in losing a lot of wealth in this. Okay, so Kalogadi, me quan ke tiarot, the non support Gurki, the post families, the Kalo support on Kai can be a mere for bigger low. Getting Kubika Bandan job. Say, oh, Oganda Bugo can mad half, could be Ojikadang Dan Mogi, the Kidan Tapi, deposit. Bulele no can to look collect double kick a rotiak. We are collecting deposit for them. Eh?
Mm.
And then okay, me and poor then big road because nyai lui man then nyai lui kumu lui. Getting?
Yeah. Mm.
Okay, they pay the cost of that. They pay the cost of celebration,
Mm.
wedding.
Yeah.
Be our responsibility then because I look we go get responsibility. Kwa kwa jam kan ya one. And
Yeah.
they are responsible for their celebration, for their
Mm.
wedding. Like in all the two families, we
Mm.
contribute building their house if we can.
Yeah.
You know, giving them the deposit for their house.
Yeah.
Can it? The best thing in my view. Kupalga
Yeah.
jika because man ki ay jati ako but they come and separate. They come and break up in a minute. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I can say about this.
Yeah. I like that idea. And if only most parents could agree to that, it would be
Yeah.
amazing. Then quite they will start equipped. So they will start ready to move forward without all this debt. Like
Yeah.
our community has a lot of debt down, and it's because of dowry.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
those that live in the West, especially our brothers and sisters that
Mm.
go and marry in Africa, and then
Yeah.
spend a lot of money to bring people here, and then the marriage doesn't even go forward. It's a lot of debt, and it's a great idea. My idea, because
Mm.
dowry is not going anywhere. When kind of
Yeah.
in Chatiak. What if we were to split it so the woman can pay half and the man can pay half?
Yeah.
Then one loses to really a relationship with Chiria, then
Uh,
Kachira a gala no clean get up and yaga chicken it up and that's
Yeah,
yeah.
and an thing, but Mako, thank you very much, David. Yeah, ideas gonna up that brilliant ideas. It's a very difficult and tricky topic and can doubt it. Yeah, and that young can a contribution can meet can be loan mortgage. A hard math because I shall we parents that bana which you can back a tapping a check it in poly. But a concept in be worry ma the word when doubt in a topic the actually na ina mako appreciation muki ni mo gitin duna mo poti ni mo ga be ba tiaga kal terbiya ko pod ban way by because na ka bi tik ban way by o guchi man wang war o denka o guchi man a diarang war ka tat by a ka war ka tal by the Araka going to looking after the children more than the men. Kagi Gilayik in a dafa ba kagi the Araka more than men. Although anong role liga air contributing. Kaka elondi. Ko levoluyen tigi a luye a domia. Kaka bana eloy. Nalo yugin mo kagi eloy. Kaka ko compensation. Tin ko liberal law. Yeah, na yan dia tinga. Kuma na yan tin ni komando mando ni bitia ko la komandi. Nyane kina bibe ko kagi ba luye a luye. You can appreciate man ka wun
mm.
anon ka tiyemi ba loy ke ka tiyemi bi
Otherwise,
gam yin un met ka
back.
man met gam chendu pat ku gam ki pomien 5,000 2,000 1,000 di yani symbolic things nyua din yin man kana jatwet yin man ku man kana jamu ku ni makoko ko le biara na kale batyak kana na symbolic thing kana era loy ka yogle biam ni mardi ku kek bi wedding den gala lo because na ki janka ti aru wedding den responsibility den and man as a parents and libo konya no kita ka wa libo konya but and ke muslim and is not ke lazim man but happening and ke kidan ke
No.
kege na le ben ke le janka la kala ti kala ke bai there are so many ways in the middle ke the coin for example then na bai and kan the background on the background no ke a can be by be watch no ban yin da ka kana and I know cash enough cash can alabaka konya enough cash and kakali biro loy and there's so many ways but we go more flexible in the theater the economic harm which is creating social and social and cultural issues related to the marriage you get dowries are very severe are very severe kukai kwa chiki tinka kaka yani psychologically is affecting families financially is affecting families breakdown of the marriages at a team milza to tienke and nakaji mid benedak because madabadian mikaro dia Paint and you need to look after them. I go to a child care below. And if you're already in a crippled by debts in the bank, you won't be able to achieve card and you won't be able to pay for them. And then you are crippled, which include the situation back home is totally different. The machine alone need a color by two other. They have free school. I can get you a child care. I can get you more data by that my child care. Well, wunya will manyata by the child care. But the card you tell here. Kagbana go we consider because in Manaran in air evolve with an environment and changing thing. You can't live in an environment in a different way that the environment the buy baby benefit environment there. Isn't it that in Manaran? You need in a like equilibrate in people when today. Isn't it kirek kai we worry you will die natural death. Then in Kibuto, but you will fail. And then Mubralo with Kabla Share, and now we have so many children on the street. Not because no failure from parents at the thing. I take children to blame pay. And K Kagaban I interrelated. Actually Bajama Kalka related. All of them are related. But we don't do studies. You need Buna social studies, Bukalo, Kubungi, you have a lot of things in the middle. You can study the mentality, the Harlan of Siamet, how he feel. Kakabana the Bakangi. Work parents kakache ko keta into consideration. Kina ngitin ko riba Martin Mako, and I will stop here.
Thank you, Mading. Thank you very much. Yen kursa buk ina mako nang ibeluel. Gabal kaya kursa yen bakim.
Yeah, so in Chale, the thing is, with change, there's a lot of things that you can see that are right. So and a kid think kaya anong ko kole thinking when you think them are and it's gam or well and you gonna be low. I think can for change to happen, you have to look at all the ideas that are put forward. You have to be getting win. So what we need is for things to be easier. And like us, we know the younger generation, you're worried about. There's one of my students, about Dowry, and he was saying never. He's even it's not up to you. Your parents, your family would say, we have to do something about it. So it's something that is not going to go away. Me the younger now, even parents can actually family that we have to do something about it. You know, so it's the adults that have to make the changes that would be good for the younger generation. That's all I can say. And if it was to change like to this dowry system, it would be an amazing thing because it's sometimes it puts people at a disadvantage. And dowry these days, you come with all this knowledge and with all this wealth, you actually give a lot more dowry to your family. The family can eat yakin. But the way and you perceive different, you know, it depends with the person you married to. That person, if he sees you as instead of an asset, then it's another problem. So and in a bajak and thank you everyone.
Kubalo, thank you, Mako. Kubalo, come on, on my proposal. I will buy man. Could be parents. We cannot go on both sides. We cannot go be condensed up. Let's look again. We parents. Lazim buy something symbolic back low. 2 words, tell me. Well, the back low, but you want to support bigger celebration that low. Well, queer low automatically. Well, could be with to support. I can be condensed up. To support towards the deposit or support or support support towards celebration. Getting Kayana Yana Kilubia must well and Calabiata the parents. Kabe the post the giant Johnny decided parents. I had to put the post that I have in fully. No one can do too much. Lucky bigger ready to contribute both sides. Anything to care of the subject, the children and Yai is already. Getting we didn't see the guy quite a bunny, I'll be right here. Getting none of Gloria, Kadakan, so again, and mim, Nakiri Balloon, Yen Makim. I, you are welcome, Makim.
I can read David. David Komako.
Well, thank you.
Contribution,
yeah.
If you look at crisis today, in our community, the rate of dowry, or let's say the extreme cost of dowry, in a particular. Thì yungin ka na ko yakan panagar ka tiek tegran tong da we jang la bai we me ran chide ma di ngori ran chide ma ber te ron jang la ku keno an ter me ne ko no kana je ko no kana te ne chi ma di ngel wel ku jam on ter ka ko ye tiek yung to dongwan ke ran chi chang tiek ka re na ka ping we na wa lo de tin ja on ter ka ko ye tiek yung ti ro ku ne ran chi tiek ka re iran da tiek yung ti diak ko ya happy day ya ko lo ko pon ya da ya ko lo ko ka ting ti ki dore le tina kan e kan ka dia ga e ba ting Iran cho ga ki Iran cho ga ki pal man de beti be kun Iran gor man de fa kana le bagam no ron tiar ko dia ga nyete ko le bu wonde gam ya no de ki ba ben ba el lo ti kin yen di mit ka dia ka mi wat ka dai ka ti ka ting ran ki lo ba ko ne no ko le beti ba na le ti ba ke ti ba mu sula di ka ci bergeden gor ga ci be yo ka mu sula ti ben jara ten ka tinga ci denied of an opportunity ci pursa di ci yo ci ko jaaye edi aka dawri be ga na yu meran ngong le bedi der di yen ke chol dawri ci tiak ajan yira na onti diak ina ci da tiak men ete gara lan ben ko onti di jom to doro kala ben ka tin ci corruption gana e corruption gana randal bu aku mala jadwe ku jangala nyaranda le badai da bebe ku jala ne ci ma ding le ya rana le jam na ci rana ben ka mal on bot ka diak nyendera ba jot be yega tegal bi yega ranong ni tik tiro tik tidia teg mana le be la kuy pir eting aka dawri be ku gur bi diglo junu le ba la pia ko chen be le pia den ba gur mana li kala aspect of it to wor ci kol ma nyang le bor ci le bor wer ya wa ci riak ci wori hak 91 ko we ko gur wa ti on tidia a chen da chen ki be don ko bor wer o ka ci nyaay ne a yere ndiga jaban ko nyaay eting Richard could on Chala Kortum and a cheap on young Ben introduced. And I have to give credit to later on the ball. On Enjala Hokali Utan, Teen Grana Chol sitting a ceremonial day in a D day, Teen a port, Bergrana Chol Gram. Yika decay, Jaliku Yaga port, Equen Gabjala Lakabania. I can hear who had alibi the opinion, a yellow Rabila low by. War, I can let be up an agar, which let be like you bore on a lot of day, Jim Tiakin. The one talk at Tinketti. Aja ko ju chagal tiek mira tiak ke kuat ya tiek eti ne kala balwe la bichire gani ku gur bito in the long run alor gur nang illegal aspect of it bia lo liran taung ti diak pin ba ni nya tiak ara le exceeded ke ganun de pe gana eti ene proposal dia gana na ku advocate in the near future gana gur bia lo gana kunya other factors ye contributed yin na cha nyan dunia rin ma ber karana bela bentin ku janga tiek nyan dun chirnyir ko re kuna jul competition ko ngai kati kuna unti dia ke ina be jaina bera la kwen bla ben ko bot karo ku opinion nya da to ke ya sai
I can tell my dad on my team. ko ga tida na tikilen ran kila tun nya kala ka kitiyo ka ju tila na non jiran yana da ya ti jala da nya ka ju lob jala gal da te kai
they happen to be ajira kan lo PD. I'm talking from the experience. I'm talking from personal experience. Assessment can lo by where and kila ba ba la tie ba ka tin ajin kunyi ko the country is not moving forward. General to in the army lebu aku ba jarwe ku jang ko ben tie nya tin ko bi wun nya gam ko ben ko but ka dia but ka wan te nya tin to high school ko no ambition to go to university ati akin go be ko $1 abi jala tiet ku yigan man le die da be kin opportunity te ngin joro no ngade le be yo garan tidit ku mit ka ngablo ka bla am sul be aka ga yo aka lo jeng especially lo jeng in particular aber jeng te ko no jeng bi be war ko no jeng jal le matter di en jeng no ko chen ko kati there is a link between crisis already in the state ila boga to state kano ben tiyo kindi panagar kuna mo to le branja or mo jam ku be bana ma to chwa to go ko agar ku bi ko kala ti te di yo kati aku
diga
ita
kala
bana
siya
ma le yega te bi be lu ko
so da kiri awre no yin makim you are hitting very good points ku so da ki jari awre I love it.
Chile vi be ping no mo.
Should that mute? You know, check up my team. So the Kijal Kalis. So the Kijal. Kada log off could you be log on time? Log off could better log on time again.
Wa ba ja nyang pe nya.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, na
Okay.
fa.
Where do me?
Bye.
Thank you, Mako. Yan zaman da ki tok zatu. Yan haki ma kim tu man. Ko ablo the last topic kala ku lugu kedan close.
Okay, thank you.
In a chugle you ready.
Bye.
Bye. Ay madi
in makimiki yeah
jalogi bo madi jalogi bo
bu lokin si ne
no en kan anon kom ma kimigin
ki ben okay yeah check la twin
jilo tu ma kimi ni kuting
kating ene ken lo ba kan ko je muke cái thing where good research kilo by 10 where the government of Australia our law cái cho ran cái ai we I chỉ observe cái chỉ research I chỉ submitted to the parliament that Indian I think ne yigru ku ti ko mu ban anyway culture chỉ right but we have to look at it critically mu bran yung ma chakal din mu ci bran yung ma chakal din
Better drop off in Makim. She drop off accidentally.
yeah I think I drop off here drop off here
yen mading logi will something about it kada an dawren ya point neki
it's true kichi makol welcome Hakim you know kulorat by I can continue okay tien continue ke be a collapsing system and social system be a collapse ku kubra loy chok tie ga ta tin ku gila mashakala ba gi ana ni ana kila tien ri ba jam ke the way people acquire mali ko di pa ki ba I acquire kuna le nan system ba ku china be ria la ri pa ba du kien ko ga bi time ab ka fix it up because na da kan area kuma na ran ki yin bi aloy ko gumusio ko ga ka ki kwet gila fo da ki ka pol bi lo but AI individual tu ni yin mabura kada raka ba da madin wada no mando wi baga wi batie wali nyandu wi baga ran nya mene mo mari na lo ba ting future mando nyandu wi baga am ko mo inde bi kin ka ko yini decided en ko go dawre ki yendi yeah symbolic things azunu kulo ko ka dia ko ka wan ko ka di ke libra lo ana mo rana wil che lo ten Sydney ten kinya de gam ti gam pat kin kilo now
Okay.
anyi chen already yeah ti gam pat ma jan rana wil che lo ten Sydney a chen man pandana
Okay.
anyi chen te party den kilo ba kilo ti akware ku ku
Ayo.
man de nyande ten no ya ki yere ko nyana ke poja ko lu ka ju ka ko nya ka e ko nyi morgi ka ku da ko buchel mena ngor ke ko
Yeah.
ko ki cham no mando di che ke to ke u ka ti ke la yi
Yeah.
ke ma ba ben cham ko to ke lakin to to ke nyan pin ma sha ka nyan ke ko ka ke ma sha ka go be dai lo to kin ko ra ne di en mando na ka ke ko nya ka ke ko ni ya ko ba dio di re di ko chi ke tin bi go
Yeah.
yi ka le o ka di ba ka le te ko ka bla na po ko bla na ko ko dong na tin ko re di kin ko ke na ma sha ka ja nya ma ku ku ra ka go bi ke le yi pin ku ke tin ko nya go ja ga parents especially ra na nya i auga i te muhima i kinan di because ina no mano wa in kila bala di discussing ha jama era na nyaga na go ma dawde kila bala yoki ni kai dawde ki ni kiti kiro ha kara in komando ki batie but the era na nyaza to mo ba ine ba ine kan le yi
Yeah. That in illumination. Yeah.
yeah exactly kun na lo ko bi ko ka dia ko kan wan ko ka di society community we dawde be doping I'm sure ka doping dawde because bi ran ba na tin kin
Kabuki.
go ba ri yeah no go bar yo tibina berada ti ko chinga ti yo ka gor bi ke bi ko kwani kono ko ya mashakal kan do tasfiya da do la lo yinga la ko ke go la o men ai do da men kana bu lo ke kene ke pat bi ya
Ajaku
be ko
go.
mi di ya ka ke pat bi ya be ko mi di pat bi any issue be treated different because case are treated differently. With kaki go ni arkai bi family be set up ko konyo okay. Ko kun li bo ko kon cholu ke karo ke biet ko le bo kon ke di parents. En ko tiang di la yin ke en man ke man ku ni ko wa roten ko we gwa ngwan o ben o o diak ten ko la we wa diak ko da tem le la no she da kun bi lo ni ke bi ko ke ko na ideas en che ke be contribution to below ideas ni chama ko be ideas ko ko be ka kali biro lo kali bi ko ma kim ke ni do kiene
Hello, Rafi.
I'm really very sorry. And we just do apology now. And no problem with the limited network. Alright. Telephone there is almost running out of power. Okay, I can't get time. But the network in a very poor indeed where I am because I'm download.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I can get you love by Martin. Anything in a get alone. I can get all of it. No time when now on community. Government has to intervene. I think. And we can all non creature you anywhere. A bogus kadam law. Go in there, well, Yama, the actual Nachanya, you know, lot of things. You move an alcohol. Rom leg is set anywhere, but a key live Japan. Kaka Kabanang Thailand. Abanang Thailand. Kaka, which is a Konya, you chola, AT on board, Nike on board in Kenya. You a Levijala impose on some, a Levy impose, can a Levy impose to marry someone she doesn't like, or a man, yeah, Levy impose, Kakaban selected. Chol bay diran dia loy kulala chola ino bay yeng ek ne ya achi lu ka pe kirat be wala yi pe na ta ron pe te ron yin yan lu gampa bay anong ke chai ting ko fo ye li ko ni ma ta ga na le bina lo ga bat pe ni ma na kirat wel aka ga gor bi ga li ri jama bi ka be wel ma ene ga ti ne bi ba wel for sa lo ba ye ko ka na ko ko ta online
La yen mako shijan. Ko chiran ke ben ku zaman da kituk. Ku bug ya lo. Kadang kena bug ya close in that topic. Ku abja lo topic with a visit of LCC, the Egyptian president to South Sudan. So echu joga nya go mako ja go ben go ku jabe. Ko wal chapal jeketen. Because mako jangal ka interested in politics. And yeah. So yen kene topic dowry is actually close. Yin mading nanong in final commentary kalbaloy on this topic I can bajatio. Jarat on. Jarat unmute.
yeah no I can commentary that wala bulo next topic
Oh, okay. All right, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you visit? No, that one. Visit. Yeah. I Kayen, welcome again on this topic, the visit of the Egyptian president LCC to Juba. Uh, I, I touched on it earlier. I said what I think about it. I was saying maybe Makim, you were not here.
Mm.
I said I didn't get the official information about why the Egyptian president is visiting South Sudan now. I don't have any official information about it, but I said I can guess. I can only guess that it is related to the conflict between Egypt and Ethiopia, and also uh, related to the current conflict, current violence escalation in Ethiopia between the Ethiopian government and the Tigray rebels. So this visit is related to these events. That's what I said. That's how I see it. So now I will give a chance to Madin Wada to say what he thinks about this topic.
Okay. Thank you, David. First of all, I would like to welcome President Sisi in South Sudan as our guest of our country. And second thing is the right of each government to have bilateral relation with any country, as long this is going with our national interests and is not violating any sovereignty of our country. Egypt being a very important country in Africa and Middle East, its relation with such a country is very vital, very important to the security in the region and also to the benefit of two countries. Egypt has, since the independence of South Sudan, has played a very significant role in some project in development in South Sudan, including electricity in Wow and Juba, Rumbeg, even it's not working, but some other things, medical help, and a lot of things Egypt had contributed to South Sudan. We cannot deny that. Egypt also is very
And education.
important.
Did you say?
Education
Did you
also,
mention
yeah.
education?
Yeah, education
Yeah.
also, yeah. And Egypt also is a very
Yeah.
important country to Sudan. Historically, we do have that tie between us and Egypt. But as you have mentioned, I will come into the current political situation. Egypt has been ambushed by Ethiopian move to build the dam.
Yeah.
Egypt was not expecting Ethiopia would be successful to build the dam, since they signed the agreement, bilateral agreement between Sudan and Egypt and Ethiopia initially that Ethiopia is going to build a dam, and President Sisi was not really sure if Ethiopian can do that.
Yeah.
You know that 80% of what Nile water which Egypt received is coming from Blue Nile. 80%. Only 20% which come from White Nile. Therefore,
Yeah.
Blue Nile is very vital source of water to Egypt, and it's affect Egypt. Egypt is very worried about their future because that dam, although the dam is done for not really to stop water in that sense, but it still also may affect Egypt. Technically, there are a lot of issues. Egypt presidency is under tremendous pressure from internal politics in Egypt, and
Yeah.
Egyptians are not happy that President Sisi was very lenient towards Ethiopia. Now Egypt want to look for other resources and other sources of water. one of the main things, one of the main areas of the resources is South Sudan. As you know, we have the set area. There is the billions of cubic of water in that area, which Egypt is very eager to to complete the Jonglei Canal for them to enable them to increase the amount of water through White Nile. And if that is done, that will improve the White Nile by 7 billion cubic water, and Egypt will benefit a lot. Egypt also is trying to convince South Sudan for another ambitious project, which is, I don't know if that's going to work, which is the Congo River, because Congo River is contributing a lot of water, and this water are going directly to Atlantic Ocean. The water that Congo River contribute to Atlantic Ocean, they're 19 times bigger than what both Blue Nile and White Nile contribute to Egypt. There are a lot of water in that river, and there are billions of cubic of water. Egypt is trying to link to link a canal, that canal either to Nahr el-Jur, the Jur River, or to Bahri Jebel, for them to get this water from Congo instead of this water to go to Atlantic Ocean. And in both cases, South Sudan is still also is very, very important area, can play a very big role in this. And coming to the current situation in Ethiopia, which is the current war between Tigray people movement and the federal Ethiopian government, the Egypt is looking very closely and to see into it that the dam is not going to continue to be construction will stop. That will make Egypt to continue to benefit from Nile water. Although Egypt is struggling to address issues of Nile River water with those countries like in Uganda and Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda and Congo, and Eritrea and Ethiopia, all those Nile Basin countries, Egypt is struggling because Egypt historically used to deal with Sudan, and you know that the agreement of 1959, in which that the set in Aswan was built, was only between Sudan and Egypt, and they brushed aside other countries without getting any approval from those countries. Now Egypt is in a deep shit, how he's going to really address issues of Nile Basin countries. And one of the places where Egypt can play a very big role is in South Sudan. South Sudan is very strategic for Egypt, but the thing which we need from our government and political setup in South Sudan is to look into our interests, and we don't want to be dragged into regional conflicts which we don't have an interest. Ethiopia is very strategic ally for centuries with South Sudan, and Egypt also is our strategic friend for centuries also with Sudan and now South Sudan. In general, both these countries are contributing in a lot. Egypt in terms of education, there's so many people who educated from Egypt, and now they're official in South Sudan. We can't deny that, including I myself, and you also, and also Ethiopia. Ethiopia also play a very big role in our liberation. I mean, since the Anyanya one till today, exactly. And one thing most of South Sudanese don't know: how did Egypt try to block the French expedition which came to Fashoda? I mean, Ethiopia. They came through Ethiopia, and Ethiopia sabotaged that, and the French was retreated back to Ethiopia in 1980 something, and they came back through Congo and through Ju River.
18.
Until they reached Fashoda. But the Ethiopia first attempt was stopped by Ethiopia because Ethiopia had the feeling that South Sudan is brother, and I can't allow my land to be used for South Sudan to be conquered by French. And Ethiopia played that role, which is really one of historical things Ethiopia stand with us. Therefore, Ethiopia is a strategic ally of South Sudan, and we welcome President Sisi in South Sudan. But we need our government to look into our national interest, not only to run after Egypt interests. This is what I can contribute regarding to CC visit to South Sudan.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Medin, for your ideas. Makim.
Anyway, I'm not actually well versed in regional politics, but I will just touch on the importance of sovereignty and the interests of the
Yeah.
country, as Nadine put it before.
Yeah.
I can say history is very well, has put us very well, both we, the people of Southern Sudan and Ethiopia, given the recent liberation struggle being waged by the SPLM. All the support we have been having on the ground in terms of human being, in terms of logistical support, it has all been coming from Ethiopia. Yes, in 1991 we had human crisis when the SPLM was expelled, but that one was actually an external factor. USA was not happy with the Soviet support to Mengistu, and eventually the forces that were opposed to Mengistu were well armed by USA, and we were expelled. Anyway, it is a path, as we all know. Some of us, they lost their lives like Animari Aldet. But diplomacy and the national interest sometimes can outweigh such things. Now Egypt is a great ally to us in terms of the services, as Medine put them before. We get medical services. Most of our students are now studying in Egypt, which is actually a human resource capital. And it is a responsibility of President Salva Kiir and his government to look at to weigh and look at the interests of the nation. And the more important thing I could say is not to be dragged into a regional power struggle over water. Because what is currently taking place is a serious power struggle between Egypt and Ethiopia. And I don't want us to be dragged into that situation because we are too young and we are benefiting from both countries. That's one thing. Even Sudan, we was expected to side with Egypt. It's quite neutral now. I believe you know that.
Yes.
Because Sudan was approached by Ethiopia, and they are being informed that they will get benefit of the construction of the dam, because the electricity will go to Eastern Sudan, and that is the benefit they will get from the dam. I think most of you might have come across that. The same thing to us. We have to look at what are we going to get from Ethiopia, because often
Are you having the same network problem again, Makim?
So this is
you are having that network problem again.
My personal on the issues. I don't know what kind of.
Okay. Okay, Makim.
Can you hear me?
No, it's like you know.
Can you hear me?
No, it's not. It's not good at all. Yeah, it's scratchy. Okay, Makim. I will ask you to mute yourself, and then I will make a comment on this topic. Final comment, and then we will close the show. Because this is the last item on our show. Mute yourself, Makim.
Can you hear me?
Lower and mute.
David, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, that's good. So we can even go further to talk about. We can even go further to extend our reapproach with the Sudan. We have to improve our relationship with Sudan, because Sudan can be a great ally to us, given our historical ties before we became an independent state. So these are the few remarks that I can say about that thing.
Okay, thank you very much, Makim. I appreciate your patience with with your network problems. Um, Actually, Medin, uh, there was something unfair. I know, as you put it, Egypt is a very important neighbor and an ally of our people, you know, through all the services it has done to us. But in relation to the water, I think Egypt has been, they have been like bullies, you know. They have been enjoying using their good relationship with the Western world to actually to rip off the rest of the Nile, the people along the Nile of the water. So it was Egypt that had agreements with Kawajat back in the 50s. It was like um, bilateral agreements between Egypt and the colonizers. And the rest of the people along the Nile, they have never been involved, you know. And also, it is Egypt that gave itself the right to build dams along the Nile. And if other people come and build, then it is a problem, you know. So this here is not fair. I can say that that Egypt should have been fair, should have involved all these countries in negotiating the percentages of water, you know, with all these countries. But it has never, it has never been, there has never been successful discussion with Egypt and Sudan so that a long-lasting agreement is reached, permanent agreement is reached on water. So that is the situation. But we are in South Sudan is in a tricky situation, as I mentioned yesterday in our Facebook comments. It's in very tricky situation because these two countries are so important for us, for our people, and then we cannot take side in the conflict between them. Yeah, I think up to here, if you don't have anything to add, Medin, then we will wind up and close the show.
Yeah, I will just add very little thing very quick
Yeah.
in regard to Egypt and Ethiopia. You know, as you have put it right, Egypt has historically have taken a side, and Sudan also, and they give themselves a right on Nile basin water, excluding the other countries. And in Entebbe, 1997, in Entebbe, they signed an agreement in which that Egypt and Sudan were not part of it, but the rest of the countries they signed, and they are building dams. Uganda have built, and Burundi have built, Rwanda, and also Ethiopia is building now. The main things, even in 1959, when Ethiopia requests officially from Egypt to be part of negotiation between Sudan and Egypt in regard to the Nile River, Sudan and Egypt, they refused, totally, they refused the application of Ethiopia. And that from Ethiopia in 23rd of November 1959 to pull out from the Orthodox Church and have their own bishop in Egypt. And they called the bishops who were there in Alexandria, they pulled them back, and that was the division of the church, or Orthodox Church, between Egypt and Ethiopia. Their
Yeah.
headquarters was used to be in Alexandria, and the Pope was used to be in Alexandria, which was an Egyptian. Now, the Ethiopians are not part of that church anymore. They have their own church. And what prompted this and what created this problem was because of this Nile water. And that problem is still continuing until today. This is very, very, very important information, and it's we don't want to be part of that. We don't want to involve in this regional conflict between
Yeah.
Ethiopia and Egypt. We need to be more neutral as South Sudan, as a young nation, we have put. We don't want to involve or to be dragged into this conflict at all. And I hope our leadership should be wise enough to safeguard our interests and our national interests. This is what I would like to add as a remark. And thank you very much for the show. And I wish also we will contribute next time if there's any other shows.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Medin. I'm sure we will do it again. We will be on this panel for the future shows. So thank you, Makim, and thank you, Mako, who has left, and Nagar. And now our show is closed. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye. Yeah, thanks. Yeah.